Netmind AI. And that is a project that aims to use GPUs, that is graphics cards, that are underutilized, that private people have in their computers, well, not using when they're not gaming, for example. Usually, gamers have strong graphic cards, and when they're not using them, they can make some money by renting those out to be used by other people to do AI calculations. That's the basic idea here. It is by far not the only project that aims to do that. There's quite a few. And so for the most part, this will just be about Netmind AI. The conclusion, though, is applicable to all decentralized GPU networks that aim to utilize the GPUs, the graphics cards, for AIs. So with that, let's get started. Let me share my screen as per usual. Here we go. So Netmind AI, a powerhouse for the future. So it says. We see four different things here. Netmind Power, that is the actual decentralized computing platform, and that also includes the Web3 aspect, a blockchain, a token, and the GPU network. There's Netmind Chat, Netmind Avagi, I'm not quite sure, and Netmind Live. So let me first quickly show you what these are, and then we get into the actual thing that is interesting for us here, which is, of course, the Netmind Power, the decentralized part, the part that has the blockchain in it. So Netmind chatbot really is just a conversational chatbot. It's pretty much think ChatGPT or others, Grok from X, formerly Twitter. That's pretty much it. It's a chatbot that you can just have a conversation with, ask questions, get answers, have it do things for you. That's it. Honestly, nothing more to say about that. It's an AI chatbot. Now, Avari is kind of that, but you can configure like the interests of the thing, and you can configure what it looks like. So it has an avatar for you to interact with. That's the idea here. So the very lonely people can have their AI girlfriend or boyfriend here. Um, Gamers can interact with characters from games and whatever, right? Warren Buffett, we have here, Albert Einstein, and Asian baby Elon Musk as well, and a few others. Now, when I tried this, didn't really work. We can try again. We can try again. When I tried this before, it didn't work, which isn't the greatest showing. But yeah, let's see. Nope, same thing as before. It's not working. So that's not the greatest showing, to be honest. That's pretty much what it is. It is a configurable AI chatbot with an avatar, to be honest. That's what that is. And yeah, it's a bit more personalized, right? That's the idea, is that it's like an AI that you can build a relationship with. Why ever you'd want to do that, but yeah, okay. The last thing is what they call Netmind Live, where apparently they use AI somehow to give you tips on how to live longer, and these tips on how to live longer will then result in you being given some health testing brands and some supplements that you can buy, and then you can buy a membership. So basically, this is you paying money for supposedly living longer. Honestly, that's what that is. So this Netmind Life thing, in my opinion, is a marketing tool for supplements, for food supplements. That's pretty much it, honestly. And other therapies that are supposed to make you live longer. That's all that is. I have a quite negative opinion about that, because it's really just a sales tool for food supplements, honestly. Anyway, back to the actual thing here. Sure, transform humanity and so on and so on, of course. Let's have a look at what they call community, business partners, research partners. So they have a few business partners. I didn't check if they're actually working together in any capacity, but I also haven't heard of any of these, which doesn't mean that they're not big or something. I just don't know these companies. Then they have a few research partners, allegedly quite a few, all universities, which is good. And I checked a few. I checked the Ohio State. I couldn't find it. I checked the University of Surrey and couldn't really find it. But I did. Oh no, excuse me. That was the one I did find. So I did find one. I could confirm one of these. The University of Surrey, I could confirm, so it's not completely made up. That's cool. And of course, then I don't find a collaboration statement from the university on Google without deeply searching. Just a quick Google does not mean it's not happening. So one of these I could confirm, and that's good. So I tend to believe they actually have some kind of research collaboration. This has nothing to do directly, the research has nothing to do directly with this. Um, GPU network or with the crypto, it's all about AI in principle, mathematics, LLMs, and so on. So that's actually not bad. Then let's go to the about section as well, because that's a bit interesting. Our goals and values. So the values, they're written by a CV. Inclusivity, innovativity, and empowerment. This is as written by a VC, basically. So really completely ignorable. What is less ignorable is our goals, most importantly, this one, the true AGI. If you know my opinion on this from past webinars, then you know that should true AGI be achieved, that's going to be the end of humanity. That is my opinion. So I'm strongly against this. Sadly, though, their founder is also invested in other AI companies and has a personal a goal to help make AGI a reality, which I think is absolutely terrible and should be heavily punishable by law, but that is, of course, just my opinion. It's not just my opinion. A couple of other smart people agree. Elon Musk, for example. But yeah, just you might think differently, right? I think AGI is the biggest risk that humanity is facing in the next decades. Luckily, we don't have it yet. I don't know how much longer it will take. There's a few other team members, and I didn't really know many. I don't know any of these. But what I can at least say that the CTO has worked, at least his LinkedIn also says that. I do believe that's real. He has worked at Coinbase, he has worked at Microsoft, he has worked at MicroStrategy as well as a programmer, though. So I would assume he's a good programmer. Does it make a good CTO is a different question, but at least they have a good programmer on board because you don't get to work for these companies, especially MicroStrategy and Microsoft. You don't get to work for them if you suck at programming. So at least that I can say. That's it, though. I really can't say anything about the other people that they have here. Can have a quick look at the open positions. Maybe there's something interesting there. I did actually not check that out before. Okay, they don't seem to be hiring right now, which is fine. 51 to 200 employees, so that's quite a solid company size, actually. That's surprisingly big. Okay, so much about the company and the project. Maybe a bit more about the actual project, right? This one, Netmind Power. That's the decentralized part. That's where people can, as I say, contribute their graphics cards, computing power over the network, over the internet to earn rewards in the form of Netmind tokens, NMT. And this is all managed over a blockchain. They have their own blockchain. They have their own layer one. That is a good idea or not is a bit questionable, to be honest. It makes the onboarding harder, that's for sure. Because currently you can only buy their token. Let's check that out. You can only buy their token on, where is it? Here. Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum, and then you have to bridge it over to the Netmind chain. That's not great. What I what I don't quite understand is why can't I buy this token on their website directly? On their blockchain, on their website with a credit card or something, because there's a company behind this. So this is not an anonymous, completely decentralized project. So I'm not sure why I can't just buy these tokens via credit card, to be honest, on their site and then have them on their blockchain. I have to buy them elsewhere, some exchanges, centralized or decentralized, and then I have them on Binance Smart Chain or on Ethereum, and then I have to bridge. If I want to use the actual network, right, the actual Netmind chain, and maybe do some AI stuff on there and use these GPUs. Makes it a bit complicated, makes the onboarding a bit hard. I don't think that's great, to be honest, but it is what it is. It is certainly a hurdle for the onboarding, though, no question about that. But okay, that's just what they decided to do. The blockchain itself, let's talk about this one. Because, a decentralized network to allow other people to use other people's GPUs is not super new. We've had this in the past in other webinars as well. Render is an example where the GPUs are used for rendering. It makes a lot of sense, by the way, because that is literally what GPUs are purpose built to do, is render visuals, right? So rendering on GPUs, that makes a lot of sense because nothing is better at rendering than GPUs. That's what they're built for. So, and this will become important and interesting later. Back to the blockchain. As they say, Netmind chain is based on Ethereum 2 technology. So it is a proof of authority using nodes and staking. The 21 nodes that have the most Netmind tokens staked become the master nodes. And those master nodes receive an extra reward on top of the usual fees from the gas, right? From the gas fees. I I don't see why this is good and helpful. It seems to me to incentivize centralization, to be honest, right? You definitely would want to stake to one of the 21 nodes that are the top 21 nodes, because then you make more money than if you would stake to a different node. So, and that of course means that in the end, it will centralize around these 21 nodes. So there will be 21 nodes that do nearly all of the verification work in the Netmind chain. And I don't see how this is a good thing. Maybe they want to keep the speed up because fewer nodes does mean higher performance for the blockchain, but it's not that decentralized. Maybe they wanted to just incentivize a limit for the number of nodes that actually get used a lot to keep the network a bit faster. Maybe it's that. Um, that's really it, right? It's used very similar to Ethereum or to Binance Smart Chain. Pretty much the same thing, honestly. And it's a clone of Ethereum 2 that has this master node principle where the top 21 nodes get an extra reward. That's it. The other nodes are also used and can participate and so on. So you can actually make a node, which is cool. But apart from that, that's it. I couldn't find this on GitHub, so it's kind of closed source. Yes, it is an Ethereum clone, but it is also closed source, so that changes are not public, and which is, I don't know why. It's not great. If you're just using Ethereum anyway, then just have it open source, my opinion. The Netmind token is the token of this chain. There is very sorry. There is the distribution here. So it's 55% allocated as mining rewards. That's over half. This is over a long time, like 10 years plus. 14.5% for staking rewards. 14.5% for the ecosystem growth fund. Oh, sorry, my mouse slipped. 6.6% for investors and advisors. These tokens are already unlocked, and I think I can show you later why. I think they're already dumped, which would be good if they're already dumped. That's certainly good for the token price because it means that the the people that can dump a lot very early have already done so. That means this dump is no longer incoming. It has already happened, so it's out of the way, which is good. And then we have 8.8% for the team, which is staked over a very long time. It's going to be a little small for you to see, I guess, but I can. Oh, I can't really zoom in much actually, because then it resizes. But here in the investors and advisor columns, you can see that they had just a 6-month vesting for phase one, and I think this part is already sold. I will show you on the chart. There's also a vesting over 5 years. That's phase two for the investors and advisors, so that's still incoming. The team itself had also 2 different vesting phases. They got the bigger part within 5 years and the smaller part within 10 years. So these are long vesting schedules for the team. I respect that quite a bit. That's very good. And that the smaller part of the investors and advisors most likely is already sold is also good. Otherwise, honestly, not too interesting. There's nothing surprising here, right? There are rewards for running nodes, for verifying these transactions, creating new blocks, and the usual, quite frankly. It is a delegated proof of stake blockchain after all, an Ethereum clone. Here, this just have this open because it just confirms again, you have to, if you actually want to use the Netmind chain, you have to buy the Netmind token on a different chain and bridge it over. And that also means that everyone who would like to be a user of the computing power, everyone who wants to use the GPU power to do AI stuff, the customers of this project, that they have to A, buy crypto, and then B, bridge that over to a different chain. And these are 2 very, very big hurdles for still the majority of people. And I think that's a problem because it just turns people off. They will just go elsewhere for their AI needs. So huge barrier to entry here. I don't think that's good. At least they should offer to, as I said before, they should at least offer to just whip out a credit card and buy this token and have it directly on their blockchain. So I can whip out my credit card and then start using the GPUs to compute AI stuff, just like that. But they don't offer that. Maybe they're planning on it. I'm not sure. This is the block explorer. Honestly, not much to see here. What we can see, there is something to see here. So we see that there's very few transactions usually. So here we have like transactions a day, 150, 200, 160. Here it went up to 5,500 for a few days. Here, and that's 3 days actually. And here it went up to 2,000 and a little bit for 2 days, but it's usually very low. It's 100 to 300 a day on average. We can also see this here. The blockchain launched in May or something, I think, maybe March or May this year did this chain launch. There's also a testnet, but the live net launched in March or May. And it has a total of 91,000 transactions. Let's call it 90,000 for ease of calculation. And they have a total of 9.3 million blocks. Let's call it 9 million blocks. So since the blockchain went live, there have been 9 million blocks and 90,000 transactions. That means there's roughly 1 transaction per block. Not even. It's a little less than 1 transaction, excuse me, not per block, per 100 blocks. It's a little less than 1 transaction every 100 blocks. This is a different way of saying this is not used much. This is not used much. This is an Ethereum clone, so of course you can have smart contracts, right? It runs an EVM as well, but there's only 2 tokens on this apart from the Netmind token. also doesn't speak well for, I mean, there's no adoption of this chain. And to have like 100, 200 transactions a day also tells you that there is no adoption of this chain. Now, it is very young. That is true. It is certainly young. But the blockchain is basically unused as of right now. It really is. You can really call it unused, and that would be a fair statement. Okay. They do have a CertiK audit, which is good. They have a pretty good score. They do have a few issues, but they're working on it, it looks like, which is good. Not exactly sure what was audited here, to be honest. Was their token audited? Was the whole chain audited? That's not clear here. I'm not sure if this is a token audit or if this is an audit of their blockchain. But in any case, they have a reasonably okay score. They have a few issues to fix. And here you can see it says, for example, it says here 5 resolved and 2 acknowledged. That means CertiK told them of 7 problems and they've already fixed 5 of them. So, they're getting there. To be honest, the review was in January, so they are also taking their time to fix it, but maybe some of these are difficult to fix. I don't know. I did see activity on their GitHub. The main blockchain is not on GitHub, but some contract is on GitHub, like within the last week. So they are doing things at least. There is activity, which is good. Yeah, it's right here, exactly. So in the Netmind contract, there was activity just a few days ago. Excuse me, no, 2 weeks ago. But and then in the actual contract 3 weeks ago. So they are doing something. And yeah, this is where I wanted to check these statements. Now, let's look at CoinMarketCap, and then I will turn the screen share off and talk about the elephant in the room, to be honest. The most relevant and most important part of this whole webinar. So they started in, when was that? Maybe in February actually already. Fair enough. But yeah, early this year is the point. At, what was it? 3.46, $3.46. They're now at 2.59. That's actually not so bad, really. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's also not bad. Oh, the zooming does not help on this side. Okay, let's just reset that then. But what we can see here, and if you can't see it, I'll just tell you. Here's a huge spike in volume. And this huge spike in volume coincided with a huge drop in price from $12, $13 down to $5 to $7. So there was a big sell-off and a volume that was unmatched since. All the other price movements, nothing has that much volume. Like this is the singular spike right here. You can see it goes up until here. Whereas everything else is barely above the bottom. Even the high volume parts are nothing compared to this spike. And yeah, as I said, the spike coincides with the price dropping massively, the biggest drop that we see on the chart. This is where I think the investors and advisors have sold off their the first part of their allocation, right? They got their tokens in 2 phases. About 2/5 they got after 6 months, and then the other 3/5 roughly they get over the span of a few years. I'm pretty sure this was them selling off the stuff that they had after 6 months. I'm pretty sure about that. No guarantees though. So yeah, the price development isn't amazing. It has not exploded, but it also hasn't completely crashed and gone to near zero. So, it's not terrible. It is not terrible. Now, let's get to the really interesting thing. And for this, I don't need a screen share. I can just talk to you. Okay, screen share should be done now. So, what is the elephant in the room? GPUs for AI, graphics processors, graphics cards for AI. And this is a thing that definitely happens quite a bit. And it has good performance as well. So it seems very reasonable on the surface. And there's so many projects doing pretty much the same thing where they say, oh, like all the people who have like gaming computers, they all join our network. And whenever they're not gaming, we will rent out their graphics cards processing power to AI use cases. And then they earn money from that. Brilliant. Everyone wins. People who need AI processing power, which does need a lot of power, training LLMs and so on, they get that there for a reasonable price. And the people who just have computers with gaming graphics cards, they make money that they otherwise wouldn't. So it's brilliant win-win. There's a problem with this. Let's think about Bitcoin. Let's think about Ethereum before it went proof of stake, when it was still proof of work. What happened with these? So at first, they were mined on the CPU, right? The processor of computers. And that was fine. And then someone started running this on GPUs, on graphics cards processors, graphical processing units, GPUs. And that was a lot faster. GPUs were not made for that, but they happened to be able to do it. And they happen to be a lot better at it because it's close-ish to what GPUs do anyway, which is rendering. It was closer to that than to what the CPU usually is capable of. And how can we compare and understand that? Okay, let's finish the story shortly. And then it ended up with very specialized chips, so-called ASICs, there was hardware that was custom made for Bitcoin mining, custom made for Ethereum mining. These chips can't do anything else. But they can do that, and they can do that better than anything else. Why? Because the hardware is specifically made for precisely these calculations that are necessary to mine Bitcoin, to mine Ethereum, to mine other things. And this was when nobody was using graphics cards anymore. And why would this not happen with AI? That's the question here, right? It's a bit like a car. You have general purpose cars, just everyday cars. And then you have people transporter cars like buses. Right? A bus is crap for racing, but it's really great at transporting people because it's specialized for that. And then you have trucks that are great at transporting things, but maybe also crap at transporting tons of people or racing because they're specialized for that. You have racing cars, they're great at racing, and they're crap for everything else because they are specialized for racing. So obviously something that is specialized purpose built for a specific use case is going to outperform things that are not purpose built. And the CPU, the standard computer processor, is just like an average car. It can do everything. It's not the best at anything, right? A bus is better at transporting people than a car. And a truck is better at transporting things. A racing car is better at racing. But the car is the one that can all of it a bit. And the same is with your CPU because it's not clear what it's going to be used for. So it's general purpose. Whereas a graphics card, a GPU, is specialized for rendering. And again, this happens to be also quite efficient for crypto mining. More efficient by sheer coincidence, honestly, more efficient than the CPU, which is why it was used for so long. But then when the purpose-built for that mining comes, that's way more efficient again because it's just for that, right? And the same thing is happening with AI. That's really the thing. So in the very beginning, AI computations, LLM computations were made on CPUs, and then they also use the GPUs for it because they're faster. And now we have NPUs, neural processing units. There are NPUs that you slot in separately on your main board. There are NPUs that are part of a bigger chip. But these are becoming a thing. And the earliest blog article I found from Netmind is from 2021. So I assume that's the year they started. Now, I looked this up then. The earliest NPU, and not even in development, the earliest NPU, neural processing unit, that is a, a processor that is purpose-built for AI and LLM computations. That's the ASIC of what an ASIC is for crypto mining, the NPU is for AI, right? It's just for that. And so it's going to be pretty good at that. And the earliest NPU that was integrated on a standard computer CPU that everyone could buy in some computers was 2017. Let me confirm that. Maybe it was 2017 actually. Yes. So NPUs have existed since before this company started. Years before this company was started, NPUs have existed. And this means that the founders must have known that the time for using GPUs for AI is not over then. It's not even over right now, but it is going to end rapidly. So in the beginning of this year, a strong GPU was about two to three times faster at AI stuff than an NPU. Now you might think, well, that means GPU is just better at it, obviously. So that's great. So the NPUs are crap. Not quite. The thing is that the GPU takes multiple 100 watts, 4, 5, 600 watts for one graphics card, whereas the NPU takes like what, 3 watts, 5, 10. You have NPUs in phone these days. They don't even take 1 watt. And that means the power that you get for your the computing power for AI stuff that you get with NPUs per energy used is better by a factor of between 100 and 1000 than graphics cards. And of course, the NPUs are getting better rapidly at doing AI stuff, whereas graphics cards are not getting better rapidly at doing AI stuff, which means that very soon, give it a year or two maybe, I just don't see GPUs being used for AI at all because it's just ridiculously expensive. It is really the equivalent of continuing to crypto mine on graphics cards while everyone else has switched to specialized miners using ASICs. It is, quite frankly, stupid. It's not going to happen. And this is the reason that this project, in my eyes, is just, it was dead when it started, quite frankly. So I'm not sure what they're doing here. It doesn't make sense. It never made sense. And this goes for literally every single AI distributed GPU power project. It just doesn't make any sense. It is literally as reasonable as saying, hey, we distribute GPUs for crypto mining. Doesn't make any sense. You have no chance of competing against ASICs with graphics cards on crypto mining. And give it a year or two, you have zero chance of competing profitably, at least, in AI computations with NPUs. It just doesn't make sense. If the NPU can do half of what you can do for a hundredth, two or maybe for 0.5% of the energy usage, it just doesn't make any sense. It's unreasonable. And yeah, this is the important thing for this webinar. Every single GPU network decentralized for AI computing is, I'm sorry, I'm going to be very blunt, it's crap, it's dead in the water. It has no future. It cannot have a future. It's stupid. Now, can this token still make a bit of a profit? Yeah, maybe, if you're lucky. It's crypto, it's the Wild West, everything can happen. Does the project have a future using GPUs? Absolutely not, I guarantee you 100%. So no, dead in the water. Goes for every single GPU AI project. Now, what about other projects though that make a decentralized GPU network, but they don't use it for AI? They use it, for example, for rendering. Now that makes sense because GPUs are made to render things. That's what they are purpose built for. So there will never be anything better at rendering than GPUs. And that means that projects like Render that do a distributed GPU computing power availability thing for rendering videos, rendering animations. Yes, that makes sense, actually. I'm not saying they will succeed, but I'm saying they could. Um, that just makes sense. It's reasonable, right? Because they are using GPUs for what they are actually made for, and nothing will ever beat GPUs at rendering. Just as nothing will ever beat mining ASICs at mining, right? No non-racing car will ever beat a racing car at racing. They're made for it. Of course, they're the best at it. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, really. GPUs for AI, Just doesn't make any sense. It's dead. It's gonna be dead super soon. GPUs for graphic stuff? Yeah, of course. That's what they're made for. There will always be the best thing for that. That's it. I hope this was interesting. I could have maybe started there, would have saved some time. But I didn't want to just have a 5-minute webinar where I just say that. So I had to talk a bit about the whole Netmind AI project itself. That's it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. As always, let me check the chat quickly. Don't see any questions. That's all right. Wasn't too complicated, I think. I hope. If you do have any questions, put them in the chat now, or if you miss me, if I get close too soon, put them in the Telegram group. That's fine as well. And then I hope to see you again next time. And don't forget to think. Never fall for the hype. Oh yeah, AI, anti-aging, crypto. Yeah. Just think. Always think for yourself. Make your own opinions. Don't just have other people's opinions. This goes for everything in life. Have your own opinions. Listen to other people and then think about it if that makes any sense or not. This goes for what I'm saying too. Don't believe me. Just think about if it makes sense what I'm saying or not. Or maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, let me know, by the way. But I think in this case, at least it does. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening. Have a successful rest of the week. Have a lovely weekend. And I hope to see you again next time. Until then, it's bye-bye from me. Ciao, ciao.